Welcome, everyone. Happy Wednesday. I'm the Grace Strega, and I'm here to give you your daily collective read for today, Wednesday, September 17th, 2025. What do we have coming through in the cards for today? Can I please have the first two cards in our 5-card spread for today? First two cards, we are starting our day off with today are our King of Swords in its reversal in combination with our 10 of Swords in its reversal. This energy right now is working through the context of vulnerability. And one of the things that we're also identifying, and here's the thing that's really important, which is, when we're identifying and working on the space of, I want to describe this, and this was a continuation of the conversation that we were having in yesterday's reading. This is also a conversation that was coming through on why it's so important to move away from energetic sources of trauma. Because when we're feeling energetically traumatized, it requires us to become dispassionate, right? The problem, the difficulty or the hurdle that we often identify with trauma is not the space by which something is hurting us. It's almost a space by which it nothings us. It's a space by which it creates the ability of not being able to have your emotionality, right? Like the song of trauma is often articulated or identified upon not getting one's hopes up, right? It's like the space by which one doesn't feel the energetic wherewithal to do something. And this is why, and this is one of the things that I think is kind of helpful right now with the fact that we see that we've got a little bit of this healthy energy that's potentially moving in right now to help us with this eclipse cycle, because we've got the moon right now in Leo in combination with the fact that tomorrow Mercury is moving into Libra. And so, it keeps on giving, it's giving a lot of the vibration of recognizing and understanding the power of healthy communication. It's the space by which we're able to articulate upon something that has energetic meaning to us, that allows us to be able to do something more effectively. And this is why, and I feel like this is important and coming up right now, because I almost see some energy in separation moving away from eggshell energy. And what is eggshell energy, right? Eggshell energy is often what we encounter in the space of trauma, because it's the space by which you don't necessarily, it's like the space by which you don't necessarily know if you're energetically doing something wrong until you've energetically done it wrong. It's a space by which you're constantly in the hypervigilance that is often energetically required to inhabit a traumatic space will often create in us the need to disassociate, right? And that feeling of energetic disassociation, as it were, creates the space of dispassion, right? Because when we stop allowing ourselves to feel, then when we see another person feeling, we feel like it brings up, I keep wondering, it stirs a lot of energetic feelings within us, right? And this is why we talk about the fact that being like working on your own healing journey often feels like you have to be an energetic warrior, because you have to push back, right? You have to push back against the energetic force that makes you feel the desire to just effectively give up on things. Like the feeling to give up on things is the source of energetic trauma. It's the weariness that we build in relationality to the context, the things that cannot change. And this is why we understand that when we have that force of compassion, right, we move it into a space to be able to resolve something or work upon something more effectively, because it doesn't, I keep on seeing, it doesn't create a situation of fragility right? It doesn't create the space by which we're constantly demanding that same sense of perfection in those around us, but rather the sense of compassion and the understanding that we're all doing the best that we can at every moment. And so something that I'm seeing that's happening there is for a lot of the energy in separation, and I can keep on seeing like this is a new, like, and this is what I meant about it appearing that a lot of the energy that's moving deeper into divine, like the energy in separation right now is working on moon lessons. And what we effectively see, and I'm looking forward to like being able to like teach on this card, because I often feel that this card is misunderstood. Moon energy is understanding that the work that we do within ourselves is so important, because essentially we all reflect back upon each other, right? This is what we talk about when we speak about being a healthy mirror, right? And that's why I often need to point out, like, the space by which we understand and recognize that, and this is the space by which we understand and recognize. And I keep on hearing the job is not to match energy, but to be a healthy mirror, which is, what do we mean when we talk about the job is not to match energy, but to be a healthy mirror, is the space by which if another person comes towards you in a way that doesn't ring true to you, right? The last thing you want to do is match them in that way, because all you do in the context of matching them is saying that you can bring another person to any space that you yourself are in simply by being like the worst energetic version of the self, right? But when we're in the space, and this is what we keep on seeing, like when we're working into the space of understanding our own energetic virtues, it allows us the context by which we work towards something in a greater fashion. We work towards trying to energetically resolve something. But the funny thing about it is the thing that we're usually trying to resolve is something that exists within the self. It's the observation of what it is that we're trying to do in a greater way. It's the observation of being able to do something in a way that allows us the ability to achieve and define and articulate more upon what it is that we put our energetic standards upon. And so that's what I keep on seeing right now for a lot of the energy in separation. It's vulnerable stuff, right? It's having to navigate through energetic vulnerability. But this is why we talk about the fact that when we talk about the fact that, like, working through the context of surrender is not giving up on things. Surrender is understanding the force and situation of what one is encountering, right? Not getting upset about it, not throwing your hands up about it, but just accepting it. And when one is able to accept the energetic circumstances around the self, one is able to work upon doing something in a greater way. And that's what I keep on seeing that is potentially happening right now in a lot of the energy and separation. There's either I've got a couple different modalities that are happening right now in separation. I'm either seeing circumstances or situations wherein there is an identification point of, there is not the fact that there isn't some resolution that is happening in these modalities, but it's the energetic resolution that occurs in the experience of being able to identify and recognize. I keep on seeing the overabundance of emotionality to something that was not necessarily energetically important, right? The observation of working through something in a way that allows one to articulate and define upon it is a lot of the space by which I see that there is some healthy restoration that's occurring in these modalities. I'm even potentially seeing that it's allowing for the context of identifying the work that may have like situations that may have occurred during another eclipse cycle. Because often what we articulate that happens during eclipse cycles is that ability of molehills becoming mountains, doing something that's small that another person makes incredibly energetically relevant. In the context of Saturn kind of healing, I keep wondering, Saturn is healing some previous ecliptic cycles because it's the observation of understanding the relevance on something that helps us define what it is that we're trying to do in a greater way. right? It's the significator point on what is energetically important. Simultaneously, we see at the same time there may be some fundamental ending of energetic cycles in relationality to the proportion by which we understand and identify that emotionality does not waver when we're holding an energetic standard. That often the way we can identify the difference between an energetic standard we're holding versus something not important is the fact that we carry it with us through time. We're able to speak upon it. We're able to articulate and define the energetic meaning it has to us. And that's why I keep on hearing it. I keep on getting the same message here as it relates to things, situations from the past. Like if these are circumstances that I said from the past where another person comes towards someone and says, are you done being emotional? I almost see the energy saying in separation, I prepared a lecture, right? It's the energy that says, it was never emotion that you were finding there. It was an energetic standard. And that's what I keep on seeing. There may be a lot of healing that is happening right now, resolving trauma with the understanding of comprehension, because we resolve trauma with comprehension. The observation of it's not the fact that the pain goes away, but it's understanding the situation by which the pain occurred in the first place. So I keep on seeing that for a lot of the energy working through that, it may be triggering, but I'm going to tell you right now, it may be triggering in a positive way, because it's the trigger that one is able to understand and define upon why, which is often and this is what we talk about. There are some triggers that are healthy, because triggers should be there on things that we should have feelings upon, is what I keep on hearing. You should have triggers on things if there's something important that is energetically occurring. It's not just the evaporation of triggers. Why would you get rid of a trigger if a trigger is energetically protecting a standard, right? And I would even say right now, like I can almost see some situations where someone's saying, oh, you seem triggered, and being like, of course I'm triggered. I'm supposed to be triggered. Like, we're supposed to have energetic feelings upon things that have significance or meaning to us. There's this illusion that something that says in some way, shape, form, or fashion that we're only healed if we get rid of triggers. Nothing could be further from the case. When you get rid of all your triggers, congratulations. You've completely disassociated. Nothing matters to you anymore. That sounds safe. That sounds safe. That sounds healthy. That sounds healthy. No, it's understanding our energetic triggers. It's not being guided by them. It's observing them. It's observing them and being able to articulate upon them that allows us to have the energetic force of meaning. And so I keep on seeing that for a lot of the energy potentially in separation right now, like working through something that is energetically difficult, but also feeling at the same time fortified in relationality to what one is observing and why it is energetically difficult. I keep on seeing that it's a lot of the energetic observation, if you will, that allows one to define and articulate upon what is significant and energetically important. And so everything I keep on seeing, and this is what I meant about some of these relationships that are coming together right now in separation, because the work that we're effectively identifying that's happening right now in some of these new relationships that are coming through, I keep on getting these are baby steps, right? These are relationships that are moving together with such delicacy, with such care, with such energetic trepidation. But the reason we keep on seeing a lot of that care, like the reason I keep on seeing that the new relationships are treading carefully because they care. And that's what I meant about working through chirality lessons, right? Which is the difference between walking on eggshells with someone, which is the space by which you're afraid to articulate upon something for fear that they'll become energetically reactive upon it, versus the delicacy by which we approach something that is energetically important, right? So it's interesting because I'm seeing here that for some of these new relationships that are coming together, they're feeling each other out in relationality to what they have reverence upon. Continuing to get clarification. Center card for today's spread. Wow, this Queen of Wands, man. She's cracking me up this week. I'm sorry, I gotta laugh. This Queen of Wands energy this week, the reason I'm laughing is the fact that the last 3 days, go head over, go take a little peek, go take a little peek on the stack. The Queen of Wands has been in the top row for the Queen of Wands has been in the top row for like the last 3 days. Yesterday, it was in the exact same position as the day before. Today, we find that they've just centered themselves. And this is what we talk about in relationality to finding our energetic center, right? Like when we find our energetic center, and this is what I keep on seeing, when you're feeling energetically triggered, right? Remember who you are, is what I keep on hearing. This is what helps center us when we're feeling triggered, right? Because triggers often want to create the space by which we forget ourselves, right? It's a space by which we feel energetically reactive. But when we feel energetically, when we're in the space of having a healthy trigger, right? It's the trigger that centers us. It's the trigger that aligns us. It's the trigger that we observe within us, but we don't react to, that allows us to find our energetic center. So I almost see that, like, again, if you're doing like a lot of the work that we're observing that is happening right now in relationality to like doing the work of this, like I told you, the eclipse retrograde energy, and it's hard, right? And it's having a different impact depending on where you find yourself on not only in the relationship dynamics, but also masculine and feminine energy right now. And I'll tell you right now, I'm not upset. I'm not upset to see these energies in these directions, because this is the articulation point of healthy counterpart energy, right? Healthy counterpart does not need to be in the same modality. Like, why would you need to be in energetic lockstep with energy that's counterpart, right? It's like energy that's counterpart allows us the space by which we are able to complement. It's the space by which we're able to identify and derive what we're trying to do in a better way. And so everything we keep on seeing here has to do with the space of and this is what I meant about those relationships that are coming together right now. Remember when I said and articulated upon those temperance partnerships, right? The observation of being able to recognize and understand how one is working to achieve upon something in a greater way. And that's what I keep on hearing. And it's beautiful. What's funny about the energy that is coming into divine union right now, I'm going to tell you right now, those temperance relationships are blowing each other's minds, is what I keep on seeing. And why is the energy that's coming into divine union right now blowing each other's minds? I keep on hearing them say, you have to forgive me, but I didn't realize you were exceptional, right? I said, you have to forgive me. I didn't realize that you were energetically exceptional, which is the observation and the understanding that I keep on seeing, that if these are, and I keep on seeing that a lot of these relationships that are moving deeper into divine union right now, we're speaking specifically upon those temperance relationships that were coming together from between the time of Mercury of Uranus retrograding before the eclipse up until the time of Mercury, up until the solstice. These were a lot of relationships. Remember when I said that they had the most strong foundations, because they were coming together during a retrograde cycle, which is like literally the space or place where the past isn't the past. The past is trying to make its way back into the present. So I see, so the ability of the energy to have carried wounds in relationality to another person's energetic misconception. And what do we mean by energetic misconception? One of the things that's really important that we work on, work on in relationality to our manifestation goals, is making sure that we're not in the space of self-deception, right? A healthy manifestation coming into fruition will help you see everything that one needs to see in relationality to self-deception, because it's the observation of understanding that some things feel better in here than they do over here. Like, everything's nice up in this place, but when you get here, it's a different experience, right? So that's why we keep on seeing that there was potentially some energy that was moving into partnership and they were holding back some of their heart space, right? The observation of the fear of what one was articulating versus the direction that they were actually moving towards. But I keep on seeing the resolution of coming through this energetic retrograde cycle and being able to articulate and define upon something in such a way that it energetically reaffirms the self. I almost see the energy like articulating from a space of relief, from a space of delight, and almost like being able to share with one another exactly how much meaning that something has, or how delighted they are to have found one another, because it's the observation of being able to amplify and articulate upon the fact that they've encountered exceptional energy. I keep on seeing it's like the space of delight wherein anything is energetically possible. Now, this brings us to, and this is why I keep on seeing that for a lot of that, like this feels like, I want to say this feels like a lot of heart opening right now in relationality, to be able to articulate and define how I keep on hearing like this is the energy that's feeling the trust that's expanding, that's allowing them the ability to energetically share more. This brings us to our fourth and fifth cards in our 5-card spread today. And these are for the energies that are deep within divine union right now. We've got here this, we've got here the 7 of Cups in its upright in combination with our 6 of Pentacles in its upright. So one of the things that we're effectively seeing right now, and this is what, and I want to kind of stress this, in relationality to identifying and recognizing the work that we effectively articulate upon during the retrograde cycles. Because, I feel like for a lot of the energy right now that is deep within divine union, and you'll recall, we're speaking specifically of the most recent cycle that moved deep within divine union, which were those magician relationships that were coming together from the period of the solstice up until the time Mercury and Venus stationed direct behind Neptune. For a lot of these relationships, there's something that is occurring as it relates to a maturation process. And I need to articulate, maturation processes are always bittersweet. They're always bittersweet. There's always those modalities or experiences that articulate upon them being bittersweet, because often what happens during maturation processes is the recognition of holding wisdom upon something that one doesn't feel like one can share with another, because they haven't effectively arrived to that energetic understanding yet. And what's effectively happening with some of those relationships is the observation of working, and I even saw last week, the work to effectively dispel a misconception, the ability to articulate upon the difference of trying to do something, from like trying to move something into a space of rapidity out of a sense of desperation versus a sense of celebration. I just keep on seeing that for a lot of those relationships, that ability to be able to articulate and define upon something, the ability to be able to effectively expound upon it, but even in such a way that I keep on seeing what's happening right now, like for a lot of those relationships, they're articulating something within they're articulating upon the changes that they're seeing outside of the context of partnership as a result to being in healthy relationship. And that's one of the things we don't talk about enough. It's very difficult to understand and recognize the shifts that sometimes happen outside of partnership when we've entered healthy relationship. Because I keep on seeing that a lot of those relationships, they're centering into partnership. And there's a difference between being in relationship and centering into partnership. Because when you're in a relationship, you're in a relationship with anyone and anything. But when we center into partnership, we energetically prioritize upon the partnership. So I keep on seeing that the centering that's occurring right now for some of those magician partnerships is affecting the orbit around the relationship. And that is the space by which, for those, and I keep on seeing, for the energy that is maturated, it's fortifying a lot of those relationships. And for the energy, that is not in the space of being able to understand that is something that is energetically natural. There may be argumentation points in terms of another person seeing someone moving into healthy partnership and trying to articulate to them outside of partnership that they feel like they're moving in the wrong energetic direction. So that's why I keep on hearing it's the energy that is working through something, and they're accepting it, but it's also energetically bittersweet. Continuing, and that's why I said they're healing, and they're healing. And often when we build into wisdom, we heal our relationship to Saturn, because it's the space by which they understand that they can't force wisdom into things, but Saturn can help with that. Continuing to get clarification between our King of Swords and its reversal in combination with our Ten of Swords in its reversal. Yep, we've got here the Devil card. Now let's talk a little bit. Let's talk a little bit about this Devil energy that we see, because it's been popping up. It's been popping up a few times right now during these retrograde eclipse process. Often when we see the context of the Devil card, where we talk a lot upon the space of understanding and recognizing energetic fixations. Right? Like, Devil card often talks towards what we feel energetically fixated upon. And the thing that's important that I keep on seeing is when we are identifying upon our energetic standards, we're never fixated upon them, because it's the ability to articulate and understand upon something, the ability to expound upon it, that doesn't articulate the fact that one is fixated upon it. It's the understanding, the quality of understanding what it means to the self, right? And this is the thing about, and this is why I tell you guys during eclipse cycles to make sure that the energy that you're bringing to things is proportional to something that is occurring, because often there is a tendency during eclipse cycles for something very small to be energetically happening and to make a big energetic deal out of it, right? To take something that is small and make a big deal out of it. What's interesting about this eclipse, and this is what I'm effectively seeing that's happening because of the retrograde energy, is potentially situations or circumstances wherein I keep on getting the space by which we understand. Like, I keep on seeing it has a lot to do in relationality to and I want to kind of I need to kind of move through this, because it's very, like I said, the difficulty with Gemini and Uranus is it's working through a lot of the space of comparison. It's working through a lot of the space in being able to articulate the difference between things, right? And this is why we talk about the fact that no two feelings are alike, right? That when we're doing the work of understanding the self, we recognize the nuances of things. The equilibrium is not found in everything being the same. Equilibrium is found in recognizing and understanding what one must bring to something in order to bring equilibrium. We're going to talk a lot about this when we get into Libra season. Because balance, it's interesting. Balance is not proportional. But you need to have a sense of proportion to be able to understand and recognize how balance occurs, right? You can't and it's interesting, like when you do something in a point of sameness, like I want you to think about it. If you do something in a point of sameness, you never create energetic balance, right? It's the question, the like fairness and balance are different things. And we're gonna talk a lot about that when we come into when we talk into Libra season, because often that's a lot of the work that comes up in that space, because those with Libra placements often arrive to do that work in understanding what it means to navigate or maintain energetic balance. It's proportional. And this is why we talk about the fact that that's why it's so detrimental to energetically try to match things. Because when you're energetically trying to match things and you're not being energetically proportional, then you're moving more into a space. I keep on hearing when you try to match energy with someone, all you do is articulate and define to another that they can move you into any energetic modality. When we move with a sense of understanding our own virtue, right? Like that's the space by which we center ourselves. It's the observation and being able to amplify and do something. Like I like to say, like doing something with a space of energetic significance, because we're able to articulate and speak towards why something has energetic meaning to us. So something that we're seeing that is happening here has a lot to do, and that's what I meant about a lot of the energy and separation, potentially doing a lot of that work in relationality to deep diving right now. This is either the energy in separation that is, I keep on hearing like the retrograde eclipse season, and it's not so hard if you're already doing your shadow work effectively. Like if this is something that you do on the daily, which you should, right? Like the ability to like work through something and to see how one could be doing something in a better way, and understanding like what one is trying to let go of. This creates that sense of energetic proportion. But often, and that's the hard part with these retrograde cycles, sometimes these retrograde cycles, like if you're not doing your shadow work, it brings out a lot of others, like it brings out a lot of ugliness, right? Because it's the emotionality, right? It's the microscopic emotionality that felt like one could contain it prior to the eclipse happening, that then becomes energetically overwhelming because you never energetically addressed it. It's like, I told you, it's like boom, it's like it makes things feel energetically magnified. And that's why I keep on seeing that that state or that space of doing so. It's not easy, and I keep on seeing, like, I want to say, like, there's something about energy in separation right now, potentially, like I keep on hearing working through something that energetically hurts the eyes is what I keep on seeing. And that's what I keep on getting, because like the observation of seeing something and worry and like feeling the space of observing and wishing, like I keep on hearing like wishing there was something that one could do in a different way. Like and that's why I keep on hearing, it's like I feel like there's almost like a lot of that. It's like there's energy and separation that is moving through a point of grief, because the energy that's effectively grieving is coming through the observation of seeing something that they energetically wish that they could change, but also understanding the nature of the fact that they can't. Because I keep on hearing that when another person, like I keep on hearing, we don't struggle with standards, is what I keep on hearing, which is why we say we don't wrestle with standards, because you shouldn't feel forced to energetically articulate to another what those standards are. we effectively work to identify and recognize them within each other, right? And this is why, like, that's why I keep on seeing that even in some of these relationships that are coming together right now, it's delicate stuff, like there's a sense, or there's a space of trepidation. But I keep on seeing that the trepidation has to do in the fact that the energy in separations has had wounds that occurred in energy that was, I keep on hearing energy that had not healed from their own fallacy of self-deception, which is again the understanding that sometimes we hurt each other, not because we mean to, but because we don't know ourselves well enough. Continuing to get clarification between our 10 of Swords in its reversal in combination with our Queen of Wands in its upright. Boom, there it is. Man, this second row right now, it's heavy. This is some heavy stuff here. We got the Devil card with the five of Pentacles. And I keep on seeing that for, how do I describe this? For a lot of the energy right now that is moving deeper into divine union, right? Specifically, we're articulating upon those temperance relationships. This is potentially sharing more to one another as it relates to how they were hurt in the past, is what I keep on seeing. This is saying to me, like, I almost see some kind of circumstances or situations where this energy, I keep on hearing the energy like moving deeper in divine union and saying, like, I'm ready to share my grief with you, which is the space by which we articulate upon something that energetically hurt us. But I keep on seeing we often share our grief when we feel like we're in a safe space, right? Like it's the weight by which we identify. And I keep on hearing, like, this is what I meant about some of that energy moving into divine union right now and potentially experiencing a heart opening. Because what happens when you experience and encounter exceptional energy? It makes you recognize the full weight of something that you've been energetically carrying all this time, right? Sometimes those spaces or those places, like I almost see this energy, like almost saying things to one another and being like, I didn't even know I felt that way, But that's what happens. I keep on hearing that's what happens when we encounter exceptional relationship. Exceptional relationship allows us to see things that we couldn't see. It allows us to heal hurts that we didn't know that we were holding on to. And so I keep on hearing, like, a lot of that energy, like I almost feel like it's a very emotional time for a lot of those relationships that are coming together right now. But I keep on seeing it's like the energy, like I almost see the energy like almost like coming into a space of like being emotional and someone saying, are you okay? And someone being like, no, you have no idea. I'm amazing. And it's like, but it's almost like I keep on hearing, it's like it's unlocking a lot of energetic grief in the process. Cause it's like, I keep on hearing the energy. I'm gonna say, like, I didn't even know I was carrying that. I didn't, like, it's like, how long have you been carrying it? It's a very long time, because it's like they're seeing each other. Like I keep on seeing like these temperance relationships. They're giving each other the gift of patience, which is the observation that, like, I keep on seeing they're not in a rush to go anywhere, right? Like this is the energy that's almost like, I keep on seeing that this energy is like, that they're like, I keep on seeing that this energy is like, this is exactly where we need to be. Because I almost feel like there's something about the weight of that feels very, I feel like it feels very significant and it feels very energetically grounding, right? But I keep on hearing it's grounding in the best way possible, because I keep on hearing it's you remember how I said that they're bringing up, like they're bringing, because these are temperance relationships, there's a lot of sentiment that is coming up, the sediment of sentiment, which is the observation of not even recognizing how long you've been holding on to something, is what I keep on seeing. Continuing to get clarification between our Queen of Wands in its upright in combination with our Seven of Cups in its upright. We've got here the Four of Pentacles. There it is. That's confirmation there. And man, like, this is the thing I'm keep on seeing for the energy right now. For the energy right now, deep within divine union, there's frustration. Like, I wanna articulate that. And I remember how I said, like, last week there was a lot of frustration. This week, like the energy in, and it's funny because remember how I said the temperance relationships are saying take all the time you need. We're not, like, I'm not going anywhere. The energy deep within divine union, those magician partnerships are saying the opposite. Is what I keep on seeing. The magician partnerships deep within divine union are effectively articulating to one another and saying in some way, shape, or form or fashion, I can't, I keep on hearing that's a them problem, right? I keep on hearing that this is a lot of the energy that's working on the healthy boundaries, because I keep on hearing these are the boundaries the magician relationships are centering because they're sharing energetic standards. And when we share energetic standards, I keep on seeing it's like I see the energy like working through something in a way that feels like, I keep on hearing it feels like it's frustrating. It feels like, I keep on seeing like it feels like it's frustrating, but it's okay, is what I keep on hearing. It's frustrating, but it's okay is often the sound that we say when we navigate holding healthy energetic standards, because it's almost the energy that says it's, it's frustrating, it's okay, it doesn't have to be this way, but it's the space by which we and that's often what we hear when we go through maturation cycles, which is the observation of someone that's potentially not identifying and recognizing or like what it means to be able, I keep wondering like what it means to be able to be energetically like working towards this space of being able to center in that way is what I keep on seeing. And that's why I keep on hearing like that's what feels like, this is why it feels like a maturation process for those magician relationships, because I literally see some energy that maybe like I almost feel like the energy outside, like there's some energy that's outside of partnership that is energetically celebrating relationship. There's other energy that is coming into, I keep on hearing like they're like, it's like I keep on hearing they're experiencing situations with bitten lips. And bitten lips is the space by which someone is acting energetically annoyed about something, but they're not willing to say it. Because again, and this is how we can sometimes, again, when we see that, it's the space of potentially articulating someone who hasn't, like someone who hasn't done their shadow work properly. Because if we're articulating upon something that energetically bothers us, but we can't energetically say something about it, like I almost see the energy that's almost articulating to one another within partnership and being able to identify and recognize what is energetically happening, but almost allowing, I keep on hearing, allowing Saturn to potentially do the work for them. And this is why we often articulate upon the fact that when we move into wisdom, we start healing our relationship to Saturn. This is why we go through Saturn returns, because it's the energy that says, I can't do anything about that. I hope you can. you're like, here, Saturn, take it away. That's a Saturn problem. Saturn's like, give it to me. Give it to me, I'll take it. It's going to take a little time. It's going to take a little time. Might take a little time. Might take a long time. Might take a long time. But it can, eventually. It's a lot of that. Like the song we give, that when we give something to Saturn is, I hope they come around. It's just like, all right. Continuing to get clarification between our Seven of Cups in combination with our Six of Pentacles in its upright. One card to clarify, please. Two cards. Okay, we can do that. We've got here the Three of Swords in its upright in combination with our Five of Wands in its reversal. So, I'm just going to tell you right now. I'm going to say this again. we're gonna work through a lot of the work that we're doing right now is the understanding of compassion versus dispassion. And I'm going to say it again, compassion and dispassion. The problem with compassion and dispassion is they look a lot alike on the outside. Okay? And if you're worried about whether you're acting energetically compassionate versus dispassionately, is when you understand that you're bringing that energetic compassion to the self first. The passion that we can communicate upon, okay, is not one that we do something and then we try to look for a reason to energetically validate what we're energetically doing, right? We don't reverse engineer our meaning onto things, is what I keep on hearing. But those who are energetically dispassionate will often try to do that, right? Which is trying to find a reason to energetically validate an unhealthy action. That is someone that is fueled by passion, that speaks upon being dispassionate. And this is why we often talk about, like we talked about a lot in yesterday's reading, there's never any more dangerous experience to be in than the space by which you say to yourself, I was hurting. Hurting should never be a reason for doing something, because when you put that code into your head, when you say to yourself, if I'm hurting, I can do anything, you will look for reasons to be, you will suddenly find that you are the most sensitive person on the planet, won't you? The slightest thing, the slightest inconvenience will suddenly hurt profoundly, because you just put code into your head that gives yourself permission to do anything so long as you're energetically bothered. When we work towards a space of virtue, it's not about whether we're feeling energetically hurt by things. It's not about how we feel. We do the things that we know that center us, because we know ourselves to be true. And when we honor our energetic truth, it's sometimes painful. And often it's underappreciated, right? It's not the space by which we look for validation in doing it. We do it because we desire to. We do it because it has meaning to us. And so for a lot of the energy, and that's what I keep on seeing that is potentially happening right now with this retrograde, right? Like the space by which we look, like the space by which we communicate upon the complexity of how we feel is the understanding that feelings are complex, but they should never create an energetic reactivity point within us. The ability to effectively converse upon something allows us the ability to do something more effectively. And so I keep on seeing that a lot of the work that's happening in this cycle feels really frustrating, because again, like the energy that's dispassionate will often say, well, I'm doing what you're doing. What's the big problem with it? And being like, that's not the energetic reason by which that one is able to do something, right? It doesn't allow, that's what we talk about with Uranus and Gemini, it's not the space, like it's not the space by which, when you say, I'm just doing what you're doing, congratulations. You've succeeded in understanding provocation. That's amazing. Like that's great. That's great for you. The small children and animals, that's the first thing they learn. You've done a great job. When we understand, when we identify ourselves, when we know ourselves, it often feels like we have to move against that feeling, because that feeling is the ego, right? And what does the ego say? And it's not the fact that the ego is necessarily evil or bad, but having a healthy ego is recognizing when our ego wants to go full tilt. It's the space by which we understand that the ego's is the protection point within the self. The ego sees harm everywhere, right? The ego wants to see harm everywhere because that's its job. And our job is to have a healthy relationship with our egos by saying, chill out, chill out, chill out, chill out. And sometimes not chill out. And this is why we mean the fact is that the job isn't to get rid of your triggers. It's to understand them and be like, when someone says you're triggered, you be like, you bet I am. You bet I am. I'm supposed to be triggered right now. Yes, this is a trigger you're experiencing. Yes, there's a good reason for it. Speaking of which, this card, again, anomalous, sticking out. It was actually like top wise in the deck. We've got the Queen of Pentacles, which is owning our triggers. The job is not getting rid of our triggers. The job is owning it, being like, yeah, that's my trigger. No, I want that one. That's a good one. I'll keep that one. No, I need to keep that one. No, I like that trigger. That's a good trigger. It's a very good trigger, right? Because it's when we understand where our triggers are that we're not energetically triggered by them. And it's understanding and being like, no, that's exactly where I would like that trigger. That's a good trigger. That's what we mean when we're doing our shadow work. It's getting rid of the triggers that aren't supposed to be there and being like, that's something I need to work on, versus being like, no, that trigger that's an important trigger. It's important because it says that someone has energetically crossed something that should not be energetically crossed, right? It's the space by which we understand that the higher self has standards. Right? The higher self recognizes and understands what is okay versus what is not energetically okay. And the observation, the conversation on what that is where we find energetic meaning upon things. And that meaning is energetically universal. It is profound. It is the infinite conversation that we have with the highest version of ourselves that says, walk me through why that is important to you. Because the ability to identify what is important helps us recognize ourselves even more. And I see even now, and this is why, again, especially with a lot of the energy, and this is why the reason that this is coming up right now for a lot of the energy in separation is five of Pentacles in combination with Four of Pentacles. This is often why. Yeah. Oh, look at that. Look at all that 5 energy on the table right now. We just got clarification with the 5 of Swords and its reversal. What can sometimes feel so energetically devastating is when we are feeling energetically triggered by something that's important and another person goes away, instead of walking through it with us, it's the energy that almost like unconsciously says, you can't have any triggers to be here. Right? It's the space by which, and again, I keep on seeing there's either 2 different modalities of energy and separation. It's working through the context of honoring, much like we honor our standards, we honor our energetic triggers. Because when we care about one another, right, we are mindful of each other's triggers. We work to understand them better in order to energetically protect upon them. But when we are not in a healthy space, then we utilize that like we should never weaponize those energetic triggers to one another. And this is often why sometimes we feel terrible for being reactive. And then later we come to appreciate the fact that trigger protected us, right? Like it's the space by which we sometimes feel bad because we had to move away from something that was energetically triggering. And then we discover the fact that there was a standard standing by the trigger. And we say to ourselves, no, I understand that trigger better now. And that's why I keep on seeing that for a lot of the energy, I'm going to tell you right now, there may be some energy right now that is having something from the past energetically returning back to them that a past version of self had been waiting for. But it's the observation. I keep on hearing the difference between someone that says, are you done yet? Versus I'm ready for, is the difference between someone that says, I was trying to get rid of something in you, versus someone that says, I'm ready to honor something about you. And that's why I keep on seeing that for a lot of this energy, that conversation is the difference between thank you or get out of here, right? Because it's the observation of being able to find ourselves and center ourselves that help us understand what is achievable to heal versus what it is that we're energetically healing from. 4 of Pentacles in combination with our 3 of Swords, and it's upright. Yeah, the Queen of Cups here. Wow, we've got an energetic trine happening right now. We've got an energetic trine right now happening in relationality to feminine energy. And what's important that we see, and if you take a moment, you can head over to the stack to be able to see today's photo of the spread. And there's different impacts that's happening right now on masculine and feminine energy. We're going to effectively talk about it. For feminine energy right now, I feel like I keep on hearing, like, this is a lot of the feminine energy that is understanding that the space by which we have standards is the space by which we honor ourselves, and that the ability to feel energetically supported upon those standards is the ability by which we effectively work to do something in a greater way. And that's why I keep on seeing that for a lot of the energy doing that work, and this is why I keep on hearing, like, we don't harbor the past. We build better into the future. All we do when we harbor things is we create more bitterness around us. What is the point of harboring things? When you harbor things, you're like, yes, yes. You know what I mean? Like, you're like, it's the space by which, like, I would make more bad stuff. I would make more bad stuff to punish everybody for the bad stuff that I had to go through. It doesn't do anything. It just, congratulations. Do you feel better now? It feels good. I know it feels good. We've got all these planets retrograding Aries. It feels good, huh? It's great. The indulgence of the moment echoes through the halls of history, right? The indulgence of a moment echoes through the halls of history, which is the space by which we experience something that feels good in a moment, but then is the observation of working through something. And then what's interesting about that, and this is often what's difficult, sometimes we have to do something hard. Sometimes we have to do something that breaks our heart in the process of doing it, but that we know is energetically correct. And it's the same vibration. It's the same space by which the understanding of what the hard part is, which isn't the space, like, the hard part is not energetically indulgent to the self. It's doing the work that one needs to do in order to heal something. And a lot of the time it feels like it's energetically thankless in that way. And that's why I keep on seeing that for feminine, like, I keep on seeing it's almost like the space of working through something and healing from the need to effectively please is how we find our standards. Because it's not the space by which we're trying. It's not the space by which we're trying to do something that is energetically off of our own alignment. It's the ability of being able to articulate and define and carve out a path for one another, right? And that's what I keep on seeing. Like, when we care about each other, we carve paths for one another in the best way possible, which doesn't mean that we chase after each other. It means that we energetically try to support one another. And simultaneously, and I keep on seeing that for a lot of the energy of feminine doing that work, it's painful, right? It's almost like the energy that recognizes that on the journey of the self, they have to come into the space of understanding that they will be perpetually misunderstood. But that's the energy that just makes right with that and proceeds forward. For masculine, it's more of a reclamation energy right now. Remember how I said that this is an anomalous eclipse? It's impacting masculine and feminine in different ways. For masculine right now, I see that a lot of the masculine energy going through this work right now, again, bearing in mind this is not based on gender, but what one feels most aligned to, it feels like inner child healing. It feels like a reclamation of the self. And I keep on seeing that for a lot of the masculine energy, working on that inner child healing, right? Like, and I feel like this is often why we see a lot of the masculine energy that comes into that space of healing is the observation that when we let go of another's expectations in terms of what masculine is, but start addressing the inner child, start supporting the inner child, right? It's almost the space. I almost feel like the masculine energy, like working through the space of saying, like, how can you do this to me? Which is almost like the space by which we understand and identify that I keep on seeing, like, when we build walls in ourselves, right? Like when we create those walls in terms of not wanting to effectively communicate how we feel, we often feel trapped within the context or the framework of the self. So that's why I keep on seeing that for a lot of the masculine right now, this is either masculine that's continuing on that journey of reclamation of the inner child, right? The ability of creating a world where their inner child, I keep on hearing their healed inner child, is able to feel energetically supported, but also understanding that the healed inner child is not demanding, right? The healed inner child is one that works towards the I keep on hearing it's working towards the energetic delight of experiencing the world around the self, not, I keep on seeing, not in the space of demanding things, but in the space of being able to amplify and articulate upon the generosity that is around us when we look towards the world that we want to create, as opposed to the world that we demand things from. Continuing to get clarification between our Queen of Pentacles in its upright and our Five of Swords in its reversal. Temperance. I'm not surprised to see it right now. And I feel like that's the thing. And here's the thing about it. Like the thing that we're seeing in relationality, and I'm not surprised to see some of this temperance energy coming to bear because we're about to move into Libra season. It's understanding what balance means, right? Balance is not demanding. Balance is not the space where we demand things. Balance is found in the asking. Balance is found in the space by which we work to energetically create balance. And I'll tell you right now, when you walk through a world and you look around and everything you see, you say, this is unfair, you're approaching something in the wrong modality, right? The observation of energetic unfairness doesn't energetically fix things, but also the recognition of understanding, and I keep on seeing this has been coming up a lot in the reading, understanding that entitlement is the space by which one sees someone making choices where in fact they're operating from a point of need, right? And so I keep on seeing that for across all of the frequencies right now, a lot of the work of this intensity of the eclipse, I keep on seeing like energy like this, it sometimes brings out the worst in others, but sometimes it also brings out the best. I want you to think about that. And that's what happens when we experience something and we see something that I keep on hearing like that just takes our breath away, right? I want you to remember that work is proportional. And the problem when we're going through retrograde periods is it can feel pretty bleak, right? Like this is one of those retrogrades that can make one feel pretty energetically bleak. But I have to say, when things feel bleak, you have to work on being a flashlight. I know it's hard. Like I know it's not easy. I know that like you can scream the whole way. you can scream the whole way, right? Like you can take that moment for yourself. But I keep on seeing, and this is why, like, and I feel like there's something important that's happening because I see the energy in separation that's healing. And this is what's so painful about healing is like I almost hear the energy in separation saying a healthy relationship will never require me to abandon my standards, right? That's how it starts. That's at the space by which one says when we find ourselves, it's the observation and the recognition that what is for us does not require us to abandon ourselves so long as we are on the mission of finding ourselves. So long, and again, there's always a caveat, right? What is for us will never miss us so long as we are on the mission of finding ourselves, which means so long as we're in the mission of doing that work to understand the self, right? The ability of asking and observing whether someone holds that in the same point of esteem helps us identify what is an energetic alignment to us. And that's why I keep on seeing that for a lot of that energy that is in separation right now, that is building into connection. That's why I keep on hearing they're treading carefully because they're coming to understand one another. And I keep on seeing, like, it's almost like I told you. And it's funny too, because there is like, I keep on getting, there is a proportional amount of speed that we're seeing right now. The energy in separation is moving very, 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 very slowly and carefully. Because I keep on seeing that these are situations of energy and separation healing from another self-deception, which is the observation of not being authentic in the context of the self that often creates the wound in another person. So everything I keep on seeing there, it's just, it's like they're taking the time to get to know one another, and they're being, I keep wondering, they're being very, very energetically careful in that modality. While for the energy that is moving deeper into divine union right now, for a lot of the energy moving deeper into divine union, I just keep on seeing that for a lot of the energy doing that work, this is the energy, like I keep on hearing, like this is the sharing of information. This is articulating more about the self. This is almost like I'm finally ready to tell you kind of energy, how much you mean to me. Because there's something about going through this retrograde period and seeing the resolve in another that is building into the feeling of discovering someone that's energetically exceptional. Because I keep on seeing the exception that they're finding in one another is is based upon the authenticity by which they arrive towards their manifestation, which is not just the fact that they say that they want something, but they work in accordance to it, right? There's a lot of that energetic perseverance that we're discovering there. For the energy deep within divine union right now, a lot of those magician relationships, I just see this. I feel like I see this energy. I think it's interesting because I almost see some energy deep within divine union where energy outside of partnership is trying to demand conversations on something that the energy within divine union is saying is a non-negotiable, which is almost the space by which another person, I keep on hearing, is like making noise about something, but almost saying like it's giving me like the space, like, and this is what we understand in terms of like understanding another person not holding the same standards as we do, which is I keep on seeing like almost someone making big, I keep on hearing making big deals over something that is not energetically important, or articulating, I keep on hearing like articulating upon something. But like I almost see like the energy that is having to like read into another person's, I keep on hearing reading into another person's non-existent hostility on something that is small, that is giving the indications of something that is energetically bothering them in a bigger way, that they feel energetically awkward upon communicating. So that's why I keep on seeing that a lot of the energy deep within divine union right now is working on observing, not absorbing. Almost understanding the context by which something is happening. But again, healing the relationship with Saturn in the process, because they're saying, I hope, like I see the energy saying, I hope the day comes that they understand that the choices that they're making to center partnership are not, I keep on seeing, it's like the energy that almost says it's not too much to ask if it's energetically reciprocal, if it's just something that we expect or expect to see within one another or within the context of the self. This brings us to the Five of Swords in its reversal and the Queen of Cups in its upright. We've got here the Page of Swords in its reversal. Now, I keep on, one of the things I keep on seeing that's happening right now in relationality to a lot of the work that we're identifying or observing that is energetically happening during this retrograde. And I keep on seeing, and I want to kind of like, we're going to kind of, put the, the most important thing that we understand with this particular retrograde period. And I keep on seeing, you'll remember that this has been like a warrior year. Like this has really been a warrior year. And the reason I call it a warrior year is because we've had a propulsive amount of energy that has been in Aries for the duration of the year cycle. And the difficulty when working through warrior energy is, and what's interesting about it is warrior lessons are often lessons related to surrender. And when we talk about surrender, it's not, and I keep on getting this, surrender is not giving up on something. Surrender is understanding the nature by which you are approaching something, right? It is having the full expanse of not trying to change, like not working to distort one's own perception in relationality to what you're energetically experiencing. But it's in the moment, I keep wondering, it's the moment that we surrender that we can energetically change things. Because when we surrender, we don't fight. Like, we don't fight against the fact that something is frustrating us. We just accept it and persevere through it, right? We just, like, we work with it instead of against it. And so I keep on seeing what's interesting about that is, for a lot of the energy doing that work, it's a combination. And this is what I meant about Gemini in like Uranus in Gemini going through a retrograde. It's not about letting go of everything. It's understanding what is energetically important, right? It is the importance that it is the importance that becomes the portent for what it is that we're trying to put our amplification of care towards. And so the reason that we see like the importance that becomes the portent, and this is why I always articulate during retrograde cycles not to make a big deal out of something that is small. Because when we make big deals out of something that is small, all another sees is us being led by our energetic passions, right? It doesn't fix anything. It often feels good in the moment, but it doesn't, it creates the space of clarification by which what another person sees within us that sometimes creates that sense or that space of energetic disappointment. And so everything we keep on seeing right now, like that's what I meant about some of the energy in separation. Like I see some energy working through something in separation. I keep on saying like feeling that energetic frustration. Like feeling like almost like I almost feel like I do feel like there was potentially some energy in separation that was going through this retrograde cycle, potentially recognizing that they were waiting for another to come towards them in the space that they say, I'm ready to start. And that's why I keep on hearing that if these were relationships where someone was waiting for someone to say, I'm ready to start, and another person says, are you finished yet? That's the energy that I almost see like comes into the space of closing out an energetic cycle, because it's the energy that articulates upon the space of addressing something that allows, I keep wondering, the space of addressing something that allows the ability of something to energetically begin. And that's why I keep on hearing like the regression point, right? Like the regression point is, I keep wondering, the regression point is not energetically relenting. It's the acceptance of what it is that we can do better. And so that's why I keep on saying it's not the fact that there isn't healing that's occurring in these modalities, but it's the healing with the observation of bringing an over proportionality to something that wasn't necessarily energetically important. I'm also potentially seeing a lot of the energy that's moving deeper into divine union being able to articulate to each other what their triggers are. They're sharing more about each other. They're being more energetically vulnerable. They're articulating upon things that are energetically sensitive because they're building into the space of healing trust with one another. The energy deep within divine union is doing the exact opposite to the energy in separation. Remember when I said that the energy in separation may be healing in the space by which someone is articulating upon something that was large, that they brought a lot of emotion to that wasn't important? The energy deep within divine union is experiencing the opposite of that right now, which is the energy, like, so I keep on hearing doing something small that says a lot, like doing something that feels very, I keep on hearing doing something very energetically, because I told you, like the wounds of another centering are creating reactivity outside of the orbit of partnership. So the space by which another person is energetically, I keep wondering, energetically volatile in terms of something that feels like it should be a positive thing, that almost builds a sense of clarity, that wherein the energy within partnership is trying to absorb, not absorb what they're energetically seeing. And again, kind of handing, I keep wondering, like they're handing the reins to Saturn to a certain extent by saying, I hope you can take care of that. Like, I hope there's something there that person is able to see in relationality, right? And so what's interesting is like, and that's what's hard about it. Like, remember how I said that some of the energy right now during this eclipse process is healing processes that may have occurred at other eclipse seasons. There are some wounds that are occurring right now for energy deep within divine union that are starting as a result of this eclipse cycle, is what I keep seeing. Final card for today's spread between our Temperance card and our Page of Swords in its reversal. Ooh, we've got our Tower card. And so the thing about, like, let's talk a little bit about the Tower energy, because, and we actually did a whole class on this last month. The Tower energy is, and I keep on seeing, I would not be surprised if this retrograde cycle is having a deep impact depending on different ways, because one of the things that we're effectively seeing or recognizing that are occurring right now have to do with the space or the force by which we identify and recognize what we're working to energetically resolve within the self. And so we're effectively identifying, for a lot of that energy that's doing that work, is that for the energy, like when we're working through this, and this is what I mean, like we often see the Tower when we're working to heal or energetically resolve upon shadow work, because the space by which we understand and identify what it is that we're trying to do in a better capacity, it allows a lot of that ability of being able to identify something that we're either working on healing within or something that we're healing from or resolving that is without. And so for a lot of the energy doing that work, like I keep on seeing, and this is what I mean about working through the Tower card, because when we're working through the Tower card, we're effectively understanding and recognizing our own energetic triggers. And I want to show you the cards that we see surrounded by this Tower card. We've got here the Tower card in combination with the Temperance card and the Page of Swords. So this is a continuation of what we were articulating upon in relationality to the experience that we talked about when it comes to our triggers. It's not about letting go or surrendering every trigger. It's understanding the trigger that we feel is energetically important because it points us in the right direction, versus the energetic trigger that we're letting go of because it indicates a volatility point or a reactivity point that doesn't feel like it serves the higher self in the process. Bottom of the deck on today's reading is the Page of Pentacles in its reversal. So what we're effectively identifying with the Page of Pentacles in its reversal has to do, and I keep on getting, it has to do with the understanding that the force of compassion isn't just about being energetically nice, right? We've seen a lot of this. When we're trying to be nice, we're not necessarily being compassionate, because the space by which one is nice is the space by which one is working to just smooth something over, right? Compassion is being able to articulate and identify the force of intention by which we bring to something. It's the ability to be able to articulate and define. And so I keep on seeing that for a lot of the energy going, and it's also a combination understanding that trauma defies comprehension. Trauma often defies comprehension. And so the understanding that trauma defies comprehension, I keep on saying it's a combination of working through the understanding that we work to identify ourselves further so that we don't effectively cause trauma by not recognizing and understanding the triggers within us, and at the same time trying to heal from situations or circumstances that may have hurt us because they defy comprehension. And that's sometimes something very difficult, because it's the observation of saying, if it didn't make sense, and there's no logical reason for it, that is sometimes because it was just meant to be energetically traumatizing. And sometimes it's hard. Like, this is why it's so hard to heal from trauma, because the song is I Never Understood It is often the song that you will sing as you're letting go of trauma, because it's the observation that trauma is senseless. It defies explanation, because when someone is operating from the space of their passions, they're not doing anything that is logical. They're just serving the indulgence of the self in terms of what feels good at the moment that they are doing it. That is our daily collective read for today. I want to thank you guys so much for being here and experiencing it. Just a reminder, if you would like to book a private reading with me, you can book one on my site. Please keep in mind, if you book a private reading with me, it is a 2-step process. You have to book the reading, you have to pay for the reading. Please make sure you do both if you'd like to have that reading. Most importantly, please remember that I will never, ever, 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 ever reach out to you for a personal reading. I will never DM you. I will never PM you. I will never slide into your inbox and tell you that I have a very important message that only I can deliver. The only way you can book a reading with me is if you book one on my site. So I would encourage you to do it there. A couple of updates before we move into personal readings today. First and foremost, I'd like to thank everyone who participated in our recent class on the Tower card. Our next class will be held on Thursday, tomorrow, September 18th at 6 p.m. PST, 9 p.m. Eastern. We will be continuing our studies into the tarot with a focus on the Star card. If you would like to become a part of that tarot class program, all you need to do is head on over to my stack and become a paid subscriber. Your paid subscription to my stack is your point of entry into our live classes each and every month. You will also, as a monthly subscriber, have access to over 17 hours worth of material in the Tarot Church Library Class Archive. Now, it's not necessary to catch up. I'll be doing my best to give you an update on everything we've studied prior to that class beginning. You've got a day if you want to catch up a couple of those classes. You can watch them today. You'll also have access to a complimentary one-on-one mentorship class with me, where I will meet with you personally to assess where you are on your own personal tarot journey and give you the best insights in terms of how to utilize those classes to the best of your advantage, moving towards your tarot goals going forward. One of the things I tried to do in these classes was make them accessible to the absolute novice tarot reader as well as the seasoned reader. There's definitely something there for everyone. Don't let your lack of experience or your robust experience prevent you from joining us in these classes. And even if you don't become a paid subscriber to my stack, I would encourage you to follow me there to stay up to date on any new offerings or services. I also post my weekly newsletter there, which will let you know about my in-person events as well as my online live schedule. You'll also have access to my Mystic Meditation articles, which give you an update on what we've been experiencing energetically. I just wrote one recently on this full moon. I'll be writing one shortly on the new moon that we're experiencing. I also want to let you guys know that on top of my standard life path readings, I also offer mentorship classes. These are for any of my students seeking a more personalized educational experience with me. I take a very limited number of students for this reason, as those classes are focused on each individual's personal spiritual goals and journey work. Those classes can be purchased on an individual level or as a monthly class series, weekly or bi-weekly as your schedule permits. Also, for my students that are seeking more consistent weekly tarot support, I'm very happy to offer weekly tarot insight packages. That is a package of 4 30-minute readings, again, weekly or bi-weekly as your schedule permits, so that you can stay more consistent on your personal journey. I'm also very happy to now offer dream interpretation readings. You can purchase these per dream or as a series. If you purchase a series, I would encourage you to start to keep a dream journal, as we will meet weekly or bi-weekly with that journal and utilize the tarot to understand the key themes and messages coming towards you in the dream space. I want to thank you guys so much for being here today and sharing in these messages, and we will do this again tomorrow.